One Python concept, real use, let's make it stick.
In today's BitSize Python basics, we're going to talk about comments and indentations. First of all, we use hash sign for single line comments. Single line comments helps explain what your code does, and it also helps others to understand your code. For example, there's a simple code here. It adds two numbers. We can use hash sign followed by this function adds two numbers to make sure that what this function does. This seems silly, however, this kind of commenting actually makes a lot more sense when your function becomes very difficult to understand. So that's the first usage of first line comments, just one single line comment. So the second usage is use multi-line comments with triple quotes. We can either use a single triple quotes or double triple quotes to do the multi-line commenting. For example, there's another simple function that greets the person when that person's name is passed in and returns a friendly greeting with that person's name. So in order to write what this function does and what specifically, we can use multi-line commenting. In order to do this, we will open and close a triple quote like this, and within it we can put however many lines of comments. For example, this is the third line of comment. Okay, so this is very useful for docstring formations for your functions. So that's the second point. Okay, the third point that we're going to make today is we indent with 4 spaces, not tabs. So Python relies on indentations, and which is mandatory, and then you have to make sure that you have 4 spaces for each block of code, like inside functions or loops or conditionals. For example, there is a function that is given that checks even numbers. However, it's not indented, so that's why it's complaining. There's like red lines. We need to correct this. So within this function definition, we're going to give it 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces so that it won't complain. And within this if statement, we're going to give another 4 spaces, 1, 2, 3, 4, to print out this even if it's even number, and then else is going to be the same level of as if, so it's going to align with that, and then print is going to be within this else statement, so it's going to have its own 4 spaces. So make sure that don't use or don't mix tabs with spaces. So not tabs, but 4 spaces. So that's the convention. Okay, cool. So if you run this, it's going to say that check even. 7 is an odd number, so it's going to be odd. So that's correct. So that's the third one. The fourth one is nested indentation for inner blocks. So when you have code blocks inside another block, like loops inside conditionals or conditionals inside loops, you are going to use indentation again to further clarify what you're doing. For example, in this function, we're printing even numbers. So we're looping a range of numbers and then printing if those numbers within those range are even. So in this, the first one is going to be indented for 4 spaces, and within that for loop, we're going to indent this if for another 4 spaces, and then this print is going to be within that if, and then it's going to have its own indentation. So we loop through these in range, how many numbers are given, and then we go through those numbers and then check if they're even, and if they are, we're going to print if those even numbers. So let's just quickly run this, and then we just ran through it. 10 within 10, we have these many even numbers. Okay, so that's the fourth one. We nest further within inner blocks. Okay, cool. So the last point we're going to talk about is keep comments brief, clear, and helpful. A good comment should explain why and not just what, and then only when the code is self-explanatory. For example, if something is like this, for example, x plus 1, and then, for example, a bad comment could be that this adds 1 to x. So this is a bad comment because you're just saying what it does. It's not necessarily clear what it actually does. A better comment could be adjusting for zero-based indexing. So this could be one of the things you are doing. So this actually makes more sense. The purpose of what you're doing. So this is a better comment than this, for example. So keep your comments brief, clear, and helpful. Cool. So let's just quickly summarize what we've just covered. We use hash for short, clear, single line comments, and we use triple or triple quotes for doc strings and multi-line comments, and we always indent with 4 spaces, not tabs, and we use deeper indentation for nested code blocks, and we write comments that explain why and not just what. Happy coding!
That's it for today. Always learn more with less. Hit subscribe and don't miss out on daily videos.